Observational. We spend a massive amount of energy curating what the outside world sees. We polish achievements, obscure flaws, and keep our deepest doubts safely buried in the darkness. Psalm 139 shatters that illusion. It declares that God knows absolutely every detail about you, the exact moment you sit down, the second you rise, and even the words you haven't yet spoken aloud. This reaches beyond our actions. The text suggests that God sees the true intentions hiding beneath the surface, recognizing the selfish motivations that often drive deeds that appear righteous to everyone else. To the Creator, there are zero secrets. We are entirely exposed, stripped of any ability to manage our image or control how we are perceived. Facing that kind of exposure, the natural reflex is to run. But David, the psalmist, describes the physical impossibility of that escape. You could travel to the absolute ends of the earth, or isolate yourself in total silence, and the presence of God remains exactly where you left it, right beside you. Even the shadows of a difficult season offer no cover. When thrust into a period of total uncertainty, where the path ahead feels obscured, you're still entirely visible. To the eyes that formed the universe, the darkest night shines as clearly as the midday sun. This creates a tension. If escape is impossible and every thought is transparent, we might expect the writer to feel trapped. Instead, he describes this reality as a profound source of peace. This isn't the surveillance of a critic, it is the attention of a master craftsman. The text reveals that God was actively involved in your physical formation. While you were still raw, unformed substance in the womb, his eyes were already on you, deliberately knitting you together in secret. We naturally weigh our worth by physical appearance, social status, or professional milestones. But Psalm 139 introduces a different metric. You hold immense value because of your inherent design. Since your value was established at point zero, before you ever achieved a single thing, the pressure to prove yourself is manufactured. You do not have to hustle for your worth. Grasping that dignity is woven into your original design, changes the stakes of human comparison. Your value becomes a fixed point, rather than a moving target. Yet, even with that value, our daily reality is often filled with confusing circumstances. We hit roadblocks, face unexpected delays, and endure seasons of waiting that can feel completely pointless. David counters this by noting that our days were already written before any of them came to pass. Those periods of obscurity are not accidents. They serve a deliberate purpose in a story we cannot yet comprehend. To put the scale of that care into perspective, the psalm compares the volume of God's thoughts toward us to the grains of sand on the earth, something impossible to count. Our anxiety flares up because our vision is restricted to the immediate present. We see a single dead end. But God possesses a timeless view of the entire landscape, seeing the whole picture simultaneously. When we realize this, God's presence stops feeling like a trap. It becomes a guarantee that we are being safely guided through a future we cannot possibly foresee. A life this thoroughly seen and intentionally designed naturally raises questions about alignment. If God's thoughts toward us are precious, then the influences we allow into our lives matter. Toward the end of the psalm, David's tone shifts into a fierce, protective loyalty. He declares an intense opposition to those who practice wickedness, essentially drawing a line in the sand against any influence that contradicts the character of the designer. This translates to a need for discernment. It isn't about harboring personal hostility toward people, but about refusing to let a culture's broken values rewrite your moral compass. True loyalty requires an active choice. It means being careful about which voices we allow to shape our thoughts and direct our decisions. David concludes his prayer by turning that same all-seeing light inward. He makes a radical request: "Search me, O God, and know my heart." This is the opposite of our initial reflex to hide. It is a voluntary invitation for God to expose internal flaws and correct the path. Asking to be searched requires the admission that our own internal judgment is often flawed. We justify our own mistakes, and we need a divine calibration to find the right direction. You can let go of the exhaustion of hiding and the anxiety of the unknown. By surrendering to the God who already knows every detail about you, you trade the safety of the shadows for the security of walking into the open along the everlasting way.